Welcome to Podlygamists, the Sisterwives rewatch podcast.
We sit down each week and recap an episode of TLC's longest-running reality show, following the Browns, a Mormon polygamous family originating in Lehi, Utah.
I'm Samantha Kaiser.
And I'm Haley Graff.
And this is Podlygamists,
Season 2, Episode 11.
Welcome back. Covering the episode Sisterwives in City of Sin, which feels like a cop-out title.
It feels familiar, like we've had this kind of title before.
Exactly. I was like, where's the next episode? I'm like, what? I thought something was wrong with my app because I couldn't find the next. I'm like, oh wait, this is the next episode. They just used almost the exact same title as like Wife 3 in Sin City or whatever they used the first time around.
Again, they are phoning it in. We want your creative titles that we started the season so strong with. Free range Browns? What happened to that level?
The price of polygamy? Come on.
Yeah.
And the description is that the Browns face new challenges in building their life in Las Vegas. And this aired on June 5th of 2011. So really, like, we're always just right on the tails of like when these actually aired, which is kind of fun.
Right. I know, because it's June 15th that we're filming this.
Yeah,
so.
That we're recording. Yeah. So just about 11 years ago, we were watching this for the first time.
Right. And you guys, this is the season 2 finale.
Oh, you're right. Season 2 finale. Snuck up on us a little bit.
Right? I didn't expect it to come up so quick, but look, it did, and we've made it through 2 seasons of a podcast.
Ooh. That's farther than I had even really imagined, to be honest.
Look at us go.
So what is that, like, we're gotta be coming up on like 30 episodes with the bonus episodes and everything, right?
We must be, right? I should go back and count them, and I don't remember how many we have. But...
Yeah. That's an accomplishment, right? Put it on the resume.
2 seasons of a podcast.
Cheers.
Cheers, girl. Yeah.
I like your cup.
You like my Disney World cup? I think I got it from McDonald's back in the day.
Yeah. Back when they had like actually good stuff you could get.
Yeah. And this is the only one left from there. We used to, like, in my family, we had a bunch of them. I think this is the only one that's not broken.
Yeah, I'll break, yeah.
It's got, like, hard water stains on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's seen some years, but it holds the wine just fine. So
this was actually a gift from Cousin Danny.
Aw!
Shout out.
Danny! Shout out!
You can't see that it's, like, engraved with, like, a cool little, like, scene of, like, the woods. And
Aw, that's cute.
Enamel lined. Yeah, we got a pair of them as a white elephant gift at the Wisniewski family Christmas.
Cute.
So Danny, just know that these are used all the time in the summer. It's look at that very dewy Moscow Mule.
It's humidity, you know? It's very hot here. First time I worn a tank top while filming because I'm so freaking hot.
It's funny because the air conditioning makes me so cold. I'm like more bundled up than usual, but...
See, I have a portable air conditioning. It's in my bedroom, and it is not reaching out here.
Yeah, that's the priority, though. You gotta sleep in the...
Yeah, I'm just keeping that room cold for nighttime, so I mean, I'll deal with it out here, I guess.
All right, so we're coming into Sisterwives in the City of Sin, and basically they've arrived. They're getting settled in Vegas, and Cody kind of opens with, "It's January, it's my birthday, and it's 70 degrees here." He feels like it's peaceful. He feels the sun on his face. It's a new day, a new you, new
year,
life.
new you, Cody.
Yeah, pretty much. He's 43. It's got to be one of the most progynous. Is that used? What's the word you use for someone who's produced a lot of children?
Oh,
prolific.
Yeah, prolific. What is it though? Now that's gonna bug me.
Sorry, is progynous not a word?
Like prodigals.
Progeny or like his children, right?
Yeah. Spermtastic.
Fertile. Real fertile. Yeah, really productive 43 years Cody Brown has had.
Mm-hmm.
I would say. Let's see. So you can't stop talking about the peace, the relief. Mary feels at home. She kind of she says to the camera, like, "I can't explain it. I just feel like I'm home."
Yeah,
which is
and she felt
weird.
the last episode, we didn't mention it, but, like, where she was driving up over the hill, on the interstate going to
Oh, we
Vegas, and
didn't
then the
mention it.
city came, on the horizon or whatever, that she saw it, and she was like, "I just got this sense of real peace, and, like, I was coming home," and I was like, "Huh, okay, great, I guess."
So, not to like shit on that parade, I guess, but I imagine after like 8 hours of a 300-mile car trip, you're like, finally, we're there. You
I'd feel
know?
that way too, even if I was seeing
Yeah.
some rundown
Like,
motel, like, finally I can stop driving.
you'd be like, yeah, finally this road trip is over. But
Yeah.
maybe she really felt a sense of
You know
peace.
what?
I don't know.
It could be both. We don't know.
Yeah, I mean, again, I keep shitting on this idea of like that they had to run away and they were refugees and blah blah blah. Like they really paint this picture of being like martyrs and all this stuff, but if you were in that situation, we have to say it again and again, and you had 16 children and a whole family to keep safe, you probably would feel a sense of urgency as well. I get it.
Mhm.
But
It's just hard watching it years after the fact
it's
and
easy
from an
now to be
outside
critical.
perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're trying to check ourselves, but it
It doesn't
seems
it doesn't
very
help that
obvious it was a little.
TLC tries so hard to like drive up our emotions with all these stupid trailers that are like pretty much false advertisement of what's happening in the show. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah.
doesn't
You know what they're doing? They're catfishing us.
essentially, yes.
Ayo.
Essentially, I mean, they're like really selling us a check their ass can't cash or whatever that phrase. I don't know if
Mhm.
that phrase is either, but
Or like a bait and switch type shit.
bait and switch. Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. I mean,
So
we shouldn't be surprised. It's reality TV. That's kind of how they roll, but
thanks for playing with my emotions, TLC.
yeah,
Thanks for that shit.
exactly. I think I'm just a little bitter about the emotional
Yeah.
manipulation.
How dare you?
Well, I I can't say that it stopped me from watching for the next 11
It
years,
worked.
so
I still watch the shows. No harm, no foul, I guess.
I guess. I mean, for the listener, this is clearly episode 2 of the evening because we're like 20 seconds into the episode and very much can't stop making dumb jokes.
Jokes. Hopefully that's
uh,
enjoyable for
okay,
the listener.
get it together. Okay. Again, we see the jacuzzi, and it's a big, real popular with the kids. They feel like they're on vacation. Again, in the jacuzzi, there's like 73 kids packed into a standard sized hot tub.
Right. Uh,
Um, this made me laugh as I was watching. Robin points out that the investigation is not over; they're just in Vegas. And I had this is not the funny part. I had questions about that because, like, are they out of jurisdiction now to where they are safe? Like, I
I
had
wrote that
questions
down
about,
too.
yeah, how does that work exactly? Like, or are they not out of harm's way?
Well, because I'm like, could they not cross state lines to arrest them? Because I know, I mean, I think it's typically like when you have to cross state lines for shit, like sometimes the FBI gets involved because then it's like a federal thing
Yeah,
instead of just a state thing.
but
But
it's
I
not a
mean, I
federal
still
crime, right? Or is
is
it?
it not? I guess.
I guess they kept calling themselves felons, so they must be right.
Can I? I'm gonna. Just let me do a quick Google
Time
search.
out
Is
for a Google
polygamy a
search.
federal? Okay. Because state laws exist, polygamy is not actively prosecuted at the federal level. But it says, but the practice is considered against public policy. Whatever
That
that.
seems like a real weak like. I'll go against public policy here.
It's frowned upon. Okay.
Yeah, I guess it's like littering. Like, what are we calling that? I guess.
I guess maybe then because it's against the law in Utah, but not specifically against the law in Nevada. Maybe.
Yeah. So unless they really wanted to like bring the hammer down, they probably are safe, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
Where I guess if you moved out of their area of jurisdiction where they're just like, nah, not worth it to pursue this, maybe.
I don't know. That comment puzzled me a little bit
Mm-hmm.
because they were so relieved, but it's just like, anyways, there's no more. We don't learn more, so I can't really elaborate further on that comment. Mona, meanwhile, is still working on looking for homes for them. We keep cutting to Mona driving and talking about her search for houses as if she's literally out hunting. Like, can't talk. Camera's gotta
I'm
come with me
looking.
while I gotta keep looking for a house. Like, as if there's not. I go on. I've worked with realtors. I go on Zillow all the time. there's no like hidden. We're not like searching for a hidden house out there somewhere. Probably.
No.
Um,
So
it's just funny that they keep painting this picture of like can't stop to talk. I got to keep driving. Camera's coming with me while I hunt for a house
it's
in
just we're gonna
Nebraska.
go to Mona on the ground. She's got
Cut to Mona.
correspondent on the ground, Mona.
She's like our battlefield correspondent for some
Yeah.
reason. But
Shout
I
out
don't
to
know.
Mona. Good job.
Mona Reiki won't reveal. we did tag her. We did tag her in our last social media post because I thought maybe she'd say something. I don't know. You never know if she's like looking to drum up some PR.
You know what would be nice if we could ever interview Mona?
I had that thought. I really did. I wonder if there's some confidentiality as a realtor. Do you think?
Do they take a oath?
I don't. That's what I don't know.
No.
like HIPAA, but for
For
realtors.
a realtor.
I don't know. I
Of
wasn't sure.
something that you sold years ago? Probably not. But
And
and it
I,
was on reality TV? Probably not.
as someone who manages our social media and like we have pretty minimal engagement, I'm gonna be honest.
Mhm.
Um, I
Yeah,
still
you
get so
guys
much
are real
spam.
passive listeners.
Except for Alex in Australia, we appreciate you very much.
Right.
But we've to the level of engagement we have, we get so much spam that I have feel like if I were to message someone like Mona should be like, if I was like, "Hi, we run a podcast about the TLC yeah, TLC show Sisterwives, red leather, yellow leather, red leather." Would you be willing to talk about your experience on the show? I feel like she'd be like, "Yeah, sure, spam." You know what I mean? I
Right.
feel like worth a
You know
shot.
what? I think it's worth a shot, honestly. I do
You're
think it
right. You're
is.
right. We then celebrate Cody's 43rd birthday. And somehow this immediately segues into Cody wants to have kids with Robin immediately. This whole like plot line was uncomfy,
Yep.
right?
Oh, I had so many thoughts, and many were not positive. Which, I mean, I want you for the record. It's not that I didn't want Cody and Robin to have a child together or anything, because I completely understand you're married and you want to have your own baby that's yours. Okay, no issue with that. The timing of it is where I had an issue, and the fact that Cody said I've kind of been pressuring Robin to have a baby. I took a lot of issue with.
The way they were behaving together, I got the impression it was like a very like light, like very like in a way that they both found romantic. You know what I
I hope
mean?
so. I hope so.
Yes. Oh, of course. But just they were so giddy, so like make your teeth hurt kind of sugary sweet giddiness that was just like I don't like watching this. I don't like watching this.
I know. I
Um
just because I know that and the thing is too, there's never an exact perfect time to have a baby, because there's always going to be a reason not to. And if you really want to have a baby and you really want to have family,
mhm,
when you feel ready enough, it probably you should just go for it then. Okay,
right.
I get that. But the fact that you are fleeing the state, you're under investigation, you've only actually been married 10 months, even though you think that's a long time. But sure, whatever. She's only 30, 31. So, I mean, it's not that she's reaching the end of her fertility age. So, I mean, it's not like the biological clock is ticking down to nothing here. So, it just felt like this is the dumbest time for you to try to have a baby. Not my life, not my choice, but I just personally would have been like, yeah, maybe we wait a little longer till things actually settle down. But that's just my opinion.
It just yeah, I mean, it seems like if you're really feeling so life or death in this situation that like that shouldn't be the first thing on your mind when you have already
Yeah.
so many children. And I personally have so much like moral like debate about continuing to produce children and that kind of stuff. Like I don't have kids. But
I feel the same though, yeah.
when you have so many and you just keep needing to have more and more and more when there's like so many that already are around and like I wonder if maybe they would pursue adoption or something. I like to imagine they couldn't because of their lifestyle, and like it just makes them like a red flag in the system or something like that. Like that's totally possible. Anyways, it just makes me so like it feels like it's motivated by something other than just wanting to have that you love children. It's like you want to produce something or whatever. I don't know. Anyways,
It's like the gross thing of like I need to spread my seed type of thing.
have you watched? Okay, have you watched the documentary Our Father on Netflix?
No, what is that?
Our Father is a documentary on Netflix about a fertility like OBGYN whatever doctor that in the 80s used his own sample when he told these women it was a anonymous donor from a standard sperm donation, and he's has over 100 children now in this town in Indiana that now he never probably thought would ever come to light because it was secret. He like
Oh my
made
god.
them think it was like some college kid who donated his sample or whatever,
Yeah.
sold it. It came to light because of 23andMe, and now all these people keep popping up on their
Oh.
radar, and he's like under it's so dark and so sick and fascinating. So anyways, that just made me think he was, and it kind of came out like in his office he had all these like religious be fruitful and multiply, like all these kind of like slogans around his office, that made it seem like he had some weird creepy alternative ulterior motives type things.
I
um
I have to question the narcissism of someone who thinks that their particular DNA should be passed on to
yeah,
hundreds or whatever. What is that? I'm sorry.
1000%. And again, I like Cody Brown as a person, but
Yeah.
that's just it just couldn't help, it kind of couldn't help but tie like some kind of a little connection of like that urge. And I
Well, I
get
mean,
that.
I think of any family that has, I mean, look at like the Duggars and stuff, and they've had their kind of scandals and whatever in the news.
Mhm.
But it just isn't different mindset than I personally share, I guess, of the
Mhm.
need to have that many children. And it differs in my ethics, I suppose, of
Yeah.
what we should necessarily be doing in a society that we aren't alone in, that we are sharing with billions, literally billions of others,
Mhm.
of how ethical it is to have that many children. Again,
Mhm.
I mean, everybody's allowed to have their own opinion and to live
Yeah.
their own life.
Yep.
It's just not personally my thought. But,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
So
yeah,
that's a roundabout way of getting back to this topic of like
yeah,
him
but that's interesting. Hmm. So,
pressuring Robin to have kids, and they're just being so weird and giddy, and like this whole thing they're like, what, we waited so long, we waited what, and they're kind of like on the couch like, what, 10 months, and you get
and
the
I'm just
impression
like,
it's probably been like 9 months, and they're just like trying to like make it seem more, you know what I mean, like what,
because
like
how long
almost
have you
10
been
months,
married? Like, you've been married over a year
a
now.
year and a half, just about on
Yeah.
the money. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I mean, you're young yet, so I mean, it's not, whatever. But
Yeah.
like, if you decide to have children, whatever, you're not at the point where you're like, wow, we've been married a year and a half. Let's have a bunch of babies.
I'm not like, wow, it's been forever. Like, yeah,
Yeah. I
it's
mean, don't
just,
you want to enjoy some time being married, though, too? I mean, because you already have enough that you're adjusting to.
yeah. I mean, Cody Brown has 16 kids already, and Robin
Exactly.
herself has 3 kids already. So it's like that
And they're
ship has sailed a
blending
little bit.
those families, too, though. I mean, so it's not just like, I mean, so
And
you're,
moving across state lines and don't have
yeah.
homes. Like, there's so many, there's so many things at play that make you go like, huh, seems impulsive, but okay.
Yeah, and then I was like, it's your life, whatever. But it's not a choice I personally would have made in your shoes. But it's fine. We're all different.
Yep. Oh, I wrote down and starred. It's just occurring to me they must have been able to work remotely or transfer their jobs, but it does come out like what 2 minutes later that they lost their jobs and have to dip into their retirement.
That's risky.
Yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure.
for that many children to take care of, I would be very cautious. I think.
Especially since only 2 people in this family were the like breadwinners to begin with. Um, it just, I mean, and I imagine Janelle's like field. It's not difficult to find another job that's similar because It's always
Yeah.
been like portrayed as like a very stable industry, as like accounting or whatever it is she technically does.
Yeah.
Cody's in sales. This is also during the recession, kind of
Yeah.
2011, like or 20 even earlier because it aired in 2011. So this probably could have been in 2010. Like it
Not easy
just
to
seems
find a job.
bold. Yeah, it seems really bold.
Again, I mean, I have personal experience with it of graduating at the start of the recession and job hunting during it. And let me tell you, if you like working as a waitress or as a salesperson at like J.C. Penney, which I did, you're great. You're good to go, but you'll make $7.25 an hour. So good luck
Mm,
to the Browns in this time. Like,
yeah, no kidding.
so
Yeah, it just seems like a bold move. Maybe there's more to it they're not like saying. Maybe the show has something to do with it, but
I hope so.
as we've established, like that show money is not enough money for this family to live on at this time when
If it
all
was
kids are
just Cody and like one or two of his wives and their families, I
right.
think they'd be great. But
Yeah.
with four wives and family, I mean it doesn't go as much as you think it would.
Now
So
they need to buy 4 houses.
yeah. Oh boy.
um, I had a moment of kind of laughing about Maddie applying her like crinkle curl gel. Very of the time, like scrunching it up, getting that really crunchy curly shine going.
Yeah.
Um, and then later she has the comment that you had to message me like mid workday because so just funny and on brand for hers. I don't really care. I don't want to make friends here.
Yeah, because
Okay.
like they're starting like their new school and whatever, and apparently it's a much bigger school than they're used to. I mean, that would make sense. Las Vegas is a pretty big city anyway, but Logan's all like intimidated. He's like, I'm feeling pretty jittery about the first day. It's a big school and all that. And Maddie's like, I don't care. I don't want to make friends anyway.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Just
all right.
all right. Playing it very cool, Maddie. Um,
I get it. Like,
I
you
she's
know,
kind of like putting up a. It's kind of like her defense, right?
yeah,
Like this like kind of act that she's doing.
yeah.
Um, she does also say that she's going to get back to Utah as soon as she can, and I thought, interesting, Maddie, because you never go back to Utah.
I know. Just seeing the way it turns out, I'm like, huh, that'll change. But okay.
She's in like I think one of the Carolinas now.
Yeah, I think she's
Or
like North
it's weird.
Carolina, right?
Yeah, right. I think
Yeah.
it's North Carolina. Yeah, just funny.
So,
She's just different.
like, you'll grow
Um,
up. I mean, your desires
yeah.
and stuff will change. So
I mean, yeah,
that's
she's
normal.
probably 14 or so here. So,
Yeah.
the other comment that I took note of was that I think Janelle is talking about how they want to use their retirement to start a family business, and I'm like, is the family business my sister wives closet? Is that your? Don't use your retirement for that, please.
I guess we'll see. I don't remember what season that comes about.
I don't either.
I thought it was like maybe 6 or 7, but I could be completely wrong.
I think it must be once they're settled in their Las Vegas homes. So maybe
Yeah.
we have a season or two before that happens. But I was like, man, please don't tell me that's what you use your retirement for.
We'll see.
Mm. uh, Cody, they're kind of talking about their housing situation. Cody talks about how it's important for the kids to have access to each other, for him to have access to the kids, and then Christine pipes in when she goes, and the moms to have access to all the kids as well, because as Christine was kind of the family mom, kind of
Mhm.
in her role, she misses the kids and wants them around and that kind of thing.
I feel like she had a pretty good attitude about what was important and like where to put her priorities, because she was like,
Hmm.
it's important, that we're stable and then we have like a family that we're able to just love the kids and provide what we need to for them. She's like, money and everything, I mean, that'll come secondary as opposed to just providing the kids with a good environment. And like, yeah, obviously money is needed to a certain extent for that sort of thing, but I thought she had a pretty good outlook on what was truly
Hmm.
important.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, Maddie with her Utah permit goes to the parking lot to like rip shitties. I guess I don't know what she's
Yeah,
doing
drive donuts around the parking lot.
with Maddie. Um,
Yeah.
I wrote that it's because she's trying to get out of the house and like kind of like do something besides sit around and be bummed out. I guess so. Mary lets her take the keys and go drive around the parking lot. And Maddie joins her, and I wrote that it's weird to see them so close. I don't recall this relationship in the later years. Maddie and Mariah.
I guess I don't either. I mean,
Yeah.
and they're not that far apart in age or anything, but they are very different personalities. So
Yeah, it's hard to even know like now how different their personalities are because we just don't like see them so much. But
yeah,
they seem like just best buds in these couple episodes that we've been seeing, I feel like.
yeah, which I quite liked seeing,
Mhm.
but
It's cute.
I mean, it's probably like any relationship. Maybe it kind of ebbs and flows a little bit. They're close for a while, and then maybe certain times they're not. But I don't
Yeah.
know what they're at current day. But
Yeah, I don't either. I don't see her like visiting them in the Carolinas ever, but
we've
it
also
doesn't
had COVID though, so maybe that
yeah,
has
there's
something to do with it. But
plenty of reasons why that could be.
yeah,
Janelle has found her home. And it was kind of cute the way it kind of goes down. Like they found a house that they originally thought would be great for, I think she said Christy or Mary and Mariah.
yeah, and she ended up loving
Um,
it.
but then Janelle's kind of like looking around. She goes, "Yeah, this is," and she's like gradually like, "That's really cool. Like, yeah, I like this house actually," which is funny
And
because
she felt so guilty.
she's so the last one to like be into like the material thing. You know what I mean? She's just
Yeah.
so not that person, but she just for some reason was really drawn to this house.
Well, it's like because they all, collectively decided whatever that Robin should have the first house because she's already moved enough and whatever, which okay, I don't care, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, sure. So, she finds her house and whatever, but then yeah, like Janelle was planning on going last and she's like, I'll wait till the end to find my house, but then she just fell in love with this one. And it's like that's no big deal though, Janelle. Like you'll have to find one
Yeah.
eventually. So
It was just cute the way she's trying to like be like so reserved about it, but was so
yeah.
excited. And the pool, they finally got their pool, which is exciting too.
Yeah. And I'm kind of happy that it was Janelle's house that has the pool.
Yeah, me
Like,
too. I feel like she'd be the most equitable with it. You know
yeah.
what I
And
mean?
she has the most kids living there. So they would probably,
True.
well, kind of, her and Christine both kind of have a lot
Yeah.
of kids, but um, whatever. Like, they would probably utilize it the most.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I'm sure they'll all be there anyways, all together. I mean, those first three houses they find are like within blocks of each other, so they could just
yeah.
run around and get to the house pretty easily.
Yeah.
The next thing I have is McKelty.
Yeah. Me too.
How she acts out when she's feeling like angsty by with her what Christine describes as her modesty, meaning she doesn't dress modestly when she's feeling angsty, which I think is so
Yeah.
funny. Um,
I mean, I guess maybe by their standards, probably not. But by normal standards, I didn't feel like anything she was wearing was super outrageous or anything like that. But
especially of the time. Like I feel like every shirt you
yeah,
bought had a big deep V and then you wore a cami with it. Like and just had like
yeah,
open
the cameo was the huge thing. Yeah.
yeah, and just had like a lot of open like chest area. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like it's just that was just like a shirt. It was like the biggest V and then you had like a cami. And that kind of
Yeah.
seemed to be what she was wearing. And I'm like, that's what I was wearing in like middle school. And granted, like maybe it was lower cut than I realized at the time because it was just the style, I think.
Yeah.
But and I had nothing, it was just like open chest,
Yeah.
like bare sternum. But
Yeah.
it just I was like, oh man, if that's not modest, if that's like scandalous enough for like all the moms to be yelling at at McKelty, I was like, "Eek."
But
Weird.
I didn't think she looked inappropriate, at least for my standards.
Yeah, agreed.
And looking,
But
and when I say standards, I mean standards for like a child to wear, not like an adult, because you can wear whatever you want as
like
an
a
adult.
tween.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed to me reasonable, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Like
Maybe I was
it
dressed
didn't
more.
look like, and the thing they make like a whole thing of boys are going to look at you and of course I know what time this is taking place. It's like
Yes,
2011 or
yeah.
whatever.
I was
But I'm
gonna
like, well,
say.
maybe that's the boys' problem instead of the girls. Maybe it's not their issue to have to wear something just so that boy doesn't have an inappropriate thought. Like we shouldn't be the gatekeepers for boys' thoughts. But again, I'm saying this in 2022 and I know it was a different
Yeah.
time. So,
I bet you even Christine would say that same thing now. I bet you it's changed a lot. And there's some scenario where like one of the girls is going to a dance and the dress is too short,
Yeah.
and there's a whole debate, and Christine lets it slide. And then in later years, I know I've seen like Isabel and them go to dances and wear dresses and stuff, and they're just pretty typical current day. They're not modest. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I don't mean that in a bad way. They're just like what all the girls who are 17 are wearing right now, which is not modest. And I think Christine comes around on that. I think it's the time. I remember going to like church retreats and that kind of stuff and having a huge debate over if the girls could wear two-piece swimsuits or
Oh,
not,
geez, yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be like, I'm sorry, the boys aren't wearing shirts at all. Like, why are we
Exactly.
why are we doing this?
Exactly. And it's not even that long ago. And so that's what makes it kind of frustrating in my book that it wasn't that long ago. And yet it wasn't even talked about that. Like maybe we put the responsibility of that on the boys to not be
Yeah.
inappropriate rather than making it always the girls' responsibility to be
Hmm.
responsible and whatnot. But so again, I mean, it just product of the times sucks, but that's the
For
way it
sure.
was. So
I think that's one of those things that has changed drastically with
Me Too
like just
movement,
social media,
maybe.
more public. Yeah, that too. More just public discussion
Yeah.
about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, of women being more
Um,
vocal and be like, actually, no, that's not on me. That's on you. Like,
yeah.
so.
I thought Robin's comment about they don't realize that what you're wearing sends a huge message to boys. You don't get it, I think, until you're married. Maybe not even then. That was a weird comment that I thought maybe was like referencing the fact that they have no awareness of like sexuality until they're married.
And
Like, is that what
maybe
she was
not
like? You know
even
what?
then.
Yeah, yeah. I was just like,
Okay.
you maybe meant like nothing. So it might have just been her like kind of rolling off the cuff of like whatever she was thinking. Not a whole lot of thought behind it. But then I'm like, that gives me a lot to chew on of like what's going on here.
The maybe not even then thing weirds me out because I'm like, surely even then, though, right?
I
I
would
mean, I can
sure
see
hope.
if, you waiting till marriage or whatever for your beliefs, if that's what you believe, that's fine. I don't, who cares? That's
Yeah.
your decision and whatever. But I just, after that, though, surely.
Yeah.
But okay.
Yeah, it made me wonder what made her think to say that, because she said
Yeah.
not till you're married, and maybe not even then. Like that was an afterthought, and I thought, what were you thinking about that made you say, and maybe not even then.
Like,
You know
what
what I mean?
experience did you have that made you say that? Like,
Yeah, I was like, who are you thinking of that made you think
yeah.
that?
It's
I don't know.
interesting.
It's a small thing, but I was like thinking about that for a while. I was like,
Yeah.
huh.
That's weird, but sure. Whatever.
Christine finds a home near Robin, so now we're all kind of like starting to circle up, and we all have houses within a few blocks. I think Christine and Robin are on the same street even, and Janelle's
Yeah.
like 2 or 3 blocks over. So they're all getting there. And then Robin and Mary go back to Utah to get their furniture, and seems like this is the beginning of their kind of like real like what you would call bromance, but for ladies, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what do we call that? Like, do we have a word for that when it's ladies'
Like
friends?
girl
Like,
crush, is that what you would call it? I don't know. I don't know what you
maybe.
girl crush bromance.
Yeah, because like
They're whole
bromance.
friends.
I
There's not
mean,
really
it's like
a
a
like a
sisterhood, but it's not. I mean, it's
yeah. I mean, they
different,
are sister wives, I guess.
I
Yeah.
guess.
Anyways, they get real like mushy gushy over each other throughout this trip, I feel like.
And so it's interesting. Like, I mean, they're talking about. Mary talks about how she had kind of like a roller coaster relationship with Robin. That like initially they really hit it off and they were like best friends, but then it was like she kind of felt like she wasn't needed or anything when Cody and Robin started actually courting. And so she kind of felt like a third wheel, which was weird, I think.
That whole journey of like her like I felt like my job was done. I introduced them, and then she had a roller coaster of feeling jealous, and suddenly she's like way like they're so like from now and for a long time they're very close. You know,
Yeah.
it's a weird. I like would love more context and like info on like what that whole journey was, because it's almost like credit to Mary because she's so open to changing how she feels about her. She's not like she really struggled with Robin when she first came into the family, but she obviously brought her in to a certain extent, and then has a journey of like being jealous and that kind of. I don't know. I want more.
Because she kind of says like Robin is the relationship that she always wanted for a sister wife, and I'm like, I wonder what the other two thought of that. For
I wrote that exact same thing. Where did I write that down? It was like, it's the kind of relationship I always wanted, with a sister wife, deep and real. And I thought, Christine and Janelle, any thoughts on that?
yeah, because
And I gotta say, it's not like Mary, Christine, and Janelle ever seemed very close
no, but they have lived together or been a family for 2
for a long
decades.
time. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't know. I know, I mean, we know it's explicitly that Janelle and Mary had conflict when they first became a family
mhm.
together. Um, it's not as much about Christine and like what role she played. I think she was the third wife, like she was the Robin for a minute, maybe it seemed like. But yeah, it was just I was like interesting how she really like she seems to emphasize I was just the what I've always wanted with a sister wife. It's real and deep, and it's just like you could have said that more politically if you wanted to, you
Yeah,
know.
I felt like that was a little bit insulting to the other two. Like, if I were
Hmm.
the other two, I would have maybe taken offense at it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
But I mean, like, I get
Um,
that there are some people in life that you connect with more than others, for sure. It's just, I mean, she met Robin within a year, and yeah, maybe you really clicked and whatever, but you still have 20 years worth of memories and experience with the other two that
yeah,
you can't.
and raising kids and all the stuff like
Yeah, like it's a little it's different. I mean, maybe you really feel a strong connection right away with somebody, but like you can't, again, like you can't shortcut 20 years of
I know,
experience.
but she does, but she really does seem to.
Well, Cody
Mhm.
seems to too, though.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true.
So it's interesting.
The next thing I have is that Mona finally finds a house for Mary, right in the nick of time with like 2 days left on the rental or some crazy thing like that.
Yeah, and a mile
That's more
away.
than a mile. Yeah, which doesn't sound far, but I guess when you look on the map of how close exactly the other three are, it is like out there.
Yeah, I feel like as the crow flies, maybe it's not far, like, but
Yeah. And she talks about how it's perfect for Mariah and I, but Cody's got some like beef about how there was a really cheap quote house next to Robin. And this opens up a can of worms of a discussion that like I just don't think I agree with Mary on
me
this.
too.
Like it feels so immature to me, right?
I mean, I can see. So the argument is that, Mary has just as an expensive big house as the rest of them, and she has one daughter. And so the argument is that, well, okay, it's just the two of you and then Cody when he comes to visit. So why should you have the same size house as everybody else? It's
Yeah.
costing the same. Like, that doesn't make sense for just the two of you. And so that, yeah, I completely get that. Mary's point of view is that she wants a house for all of the family to fit in. But do they have to gather at Mary's house? Is that absolutely necessary for you to still be a family? I don't know.
I think it's maybe like the role Mary has taken as the one who doesn't have all the kids is like she's like the gathering person.
Yeah.
But it's and like I feel for her where she's like she does say a thing like tearfully in a minute where she's like because I don't have as many children, I don't get as many perks. But to me, it just it just doesn't equate to me. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like to me, I'm like, yeah, you have one kid, you need a duplex, an apartment, a one or two or two to maybe three small bedroom apartment. Like
Hmm.
you just don't need, and technically you still own these other homes with the other family, so you can go to the pool,
Yeah.
and you can go to the and you can be and you get to be far away, which she is. She wanted to be further away evidently, and so she is. But like but she wants her own like isolated perks. You know, it's just I'm just like I just don't agree. And
I don't
as much as
either.
I want to be, all the wives seem very empathetic to Mary. They're like, yes, she should get as much as everybody else, blah, blah, blah. It's not about rewarding the amount of kids. It's just about being realistic about how much space you do or don't need. And you don't need that much
Yeah.
space when you have one child
I
and
know,
a
and she's
teen.
making it like a personal thing of, wow, I couldn't
Yeah.
have more than one child, so you're just like punishing me for this. No,
Yeah.
it's just being realistic about what your situation is versus others.
I wonder if it has to do with the fact that this is still fresh off of when Mary is trying to have children, and it's still
Yeah.
a fresh like wound for her, as opposed to like nowadays. Maybe
She's given
I
up
can't
on
even say
that.
that because her rental in Arizona is humongous. She still has like a huge, so it's not like you know what I just
Which, and
don't
it
I
doesn't,
don't
that
get it.
doesn't make
I'm sorry,
sense. Like, I, I
but
don't know.
everyone except for kind of Cody is so on board with it. They're
Yeah.
like, yeah, she should have as big of a house as we have, but like, why?
I feel like she could still have. There's a difference of being like, we all have really super nice homes, and then we're shoving Mary in like some studio apartment that's like run down and never been renovated
Yeah,
or something. That's different. Okay, be like, well, that's kind of rude. Why do I get like this shithole while the rest of you get,
yeah.
the Ritz or something?
Smaller does not equal shittier
Exactly.
per se.
Exactly. You
Yeah,
could still have a really lovely, comfortable home that is just less bedrooms, smaller square footage that makes sense for you and your nuclear family. I mean, like, I understand her feeling like sensitive about it because it seems like it's, her and
it's like a reminder of her lack
yeah.
of kids, I guess. But wouldn't a big empty house also be a reminder? I don't know.
I would
I'm
think
just like,
so. Instead of feeling like my house is filled, my house is full, and then like, no, actually, there's like 6 rooms that aren't being utilized because I couldn't have those
yeah,
children. you
I just
know,
don't get it,
it's. I mean,
to be
it's
honest.
complicated. Like, it's obviously something that she's emotionally dealing with, and I feel for her. But I just logically, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And I'm a very empathetic person, so but for me, I just still am like, but that doesn't make sense financially.
They decided to throw a block party to like, I don't know why, to like welcome themselves to the neighborhood.
It's a little weird, but okay.
For rentals too. It's not like they're gonna be there forever.
Yeah. I've
But
never moved into an apartment and been like, let me throw a block party.
weird.
But okay, it's fine.
We do get the pleasure of meeting Edna, the next door neighbor, who's very outspoken, apparently throwing them a block party. Like, it sounds like she's almost throwing the party
Kinda.
for them. I don't know. We get to meet some of the neighbors. Cody gets very in Rufus, neighbor named Rufus's face. He's like, arm around him, kind of almost hugging him from behind, like, yeah, you brother, like, doing like a fist punch. I'm like, Rufus probably wants to get the fuck off of him. Like, you're so, like, in his grill.
I wrote down, I was like, he's very snuggly with the neighbors.
That was a weird. If that poor guy probably just like, ha ha ha, yeah.
Okay, great. I'm
Weird.
so glad you moved in.
Overall, they do all seem like sweet neighbors. They try to get Rufus to say like scandalous things about. They have a clip about him. Oh, that's not love, that's lust, and blah blah blah. But really, he says a lot of very like kind things first, and then finally they're like, probably like, what do you think about polygamy? He probably says like, yeah, it's not for me.
Yeah.
Like I believe X Y Z, but like whatever. They're
Yeah, because like Rufus, I mean, he tells, like, he says how he's a Christian. And so obviously, I know that Mormons believe a lot of what the Christians do, almost all of it, except for, their specific Mormonism. But he's like, well, yeah, that just seems like you're supposed to have one wife. It was Adam and Eve, not Adam and 3 others or whatever. Though I think Adam had a wife before Eve, apparently, or whatever.
news to me. I don't know.
Lilith? Google it.
Unfamiliar with Lilith.
Lilith, I
Okay.
think, was Adam's wife before Eve, but
Okay.
he didn't have them at the same time, I think. So, either way.
Interesting.
So, either way,
I mean, it's a weak argument either way for Rufus to have, but I mean, the sentiment overall, the theme is that he's like, yeah, he can like, I've got no problem with him. That's his cross to bear, whatever his
yeah.
he'll have judgment day, blah blah blah. Like it's like not really. He doesn't really say anything negative about the Browns besides that it's just not for
Yeah.
him. But overall, the neighbors seem accepting.
Yeah, they all seem pretty chill, nice. Like, honestly, I mean. Oh, and then Robin makes the comment, like, she was all, like, sassy, where she's like, well, prostitutes are cheaper than wives, so.
I feel like she's always trying to be like dropping the truth bomb,
Mic
like
drop.
in a real, you know what I mean. Like she's always trying to do that like weird, like slapstick thing, but it's so like cringy and weird,
Yeah, and
right?
I don't know, Robin. It depends on the prostitute, I think, honestly.
I was thinking that too. I'm like, yeah, if you got 4 prostitutes every day forever, I bet you it's actually more expensive.
I think it would be, not having had a prostitute myself, so I can't speak from point of reference or anything, but
I would just imagine.
I just think
It
probably
seems like more of a value purchase, yeah, than like,
than,
a
just
subscription
everyday
service as
living.
opposed to like a daily expense.
Yeah.
So
And I will say Robin's not speaking from a point of experience either, so
probably not.
probably not.
I would be shocked.
Right? Like, you don't know. What's the
Um,
going rate for a prostitute? You don't know.
I don't even know. So if I don't know, I'm sure Robin's not real
I'm
familiar.
sure she has no idea. I think we get into like Mary and Christine are both saying how they really like having separate houses.
Okay.
That's where I'm at least.
Yeah, Mary does talk about enjoying her privacy and separation, which is like kind of like the starting point that they like never come back from it, basically,
Yeah.
right? And Christine enjoys having the routine with just her kids, which was honestly surprising because she's such the mom of all the kids.
Yeah.
Felt like seeds were being planted a little bit.
Well, it's interesting because I mean, they both were saying like we like having Cody in their separate houses, that it feels like he's just there for them. So,
Yep.
okay, I mean, I get that, but then that's not sister wife. Like, that's, that's just having a husband who maybe is away a lot.
It seems like there's a very clear, even earlier than I had like realized,
Yeah.
there's a real difference between life in Lehigh and the big house, and as soon as they get in separate houses, how much they like seem to enjoy that.
Yeah.
I think is that kind of where we wrap up.
Well, we leave off, I guess, with the cliffhanger of Robin's news.
Oh, that's right. We find out that Robin and Cody are in fact pregnant, and I'm sorry to question this timeline a little bit, but they're in that house for 1 month. And sorry to get technical, but you can conceive for like 2 days out of 1 month. And they already know as of before they moved out of these houses, they're pregnant.
You had to have been
Do you know
pregnant
what I mean?
before you moved there then.
That's what I'm thinking. If she's going to Mary's house,
Yeah.
I guess she's moving into Mary's rental, so then it's after the month.
And she's
Okay,
kind
so
of
maybe
showing too.
in the I didn't notice in like the actual footage, but in the confessional, she's very much showing.
Yeah.
So that's months later. But I'm just like fuzzy timeline, Browns. I don't know.
Yeah, because you're like, oh, we're gonna, we know that it's not great timing or whatever, but we're gonna wait. And now we've been in Vegas for a little while, and we're like, maybe now we try. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
it seems
already
like
tried a little earlier than that, but okay.
at home. Yeah, before we left Lehigh. Yeah, I guess now that I think about it, they show that we like leave off on her going to visit Mary at Mary's house to give her the news. So they have left the rent. So it's been more than a month in Vegas, I guess.
But you
But
wouldn't share that news at 1 month of conception, though.
yeah,
You might not
probably
even
not.
know at that point.
So questionable about this whole deal, I guess. I don't know. Whatever. I have my opinions
I
on
have my
that, but
opinions too, but it's not my life. So.
yeah, not my life, and obviously it works out. I mean, for Cody and Mary, or Cody
Cody
and
and Robin, it works out
Robin, it
fine.
works out
They've got
just
beautiful children. It's fine, but it's just interesting.
We'll see. I mean, I guess that's it. We won't even really talk about it more until season 3.
Right?
So, guess we'll find
All
out.
right.
Do you have any recommendations this week?
Yes, I could recommend that book I read that I really enjoyed.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. That was a good one. The Mutual Friend by Carter Bays is my recommendation. I just picked that book up over the weekend, and it's only, Wednesday today? I finished it in like 2 days, and it's like a 500-page book. So, I mean, it's not like tiny or anything, but I just couldn't put it down. I loved it so much. It's like, I don't even know how to describe it. I'm gonna do like such a bad job describing it, but it's finding like about modern life and how we find like connection through modern life of technology and stuff with Facebook and like dating apps and stuff and figuring out what you want in life with the internet and how everything is so gosh darn distracting. And I don't know, it just the characters and everything in this book are super well developed. They're immediately likable and everything. Like you just get sucked in reading it. So if anybody wants to like have, it's like kind of a beach read, but then also it has really like meaningful things about life, like observations and stuff about life in it too, that make it a little more deep than your average beach read. Super good, so I definitely recommend it.
Cool. I definitely want to read it. I've got a few things like on my queue right now for reading, but
I
I'll
think
have to
you'll
get to
like
that
it for
eventually.
sure.
It sounds it sounds good.
Yeah, I think you'll like
Cool.
it.
Well, thanks for joining us again on our season finale. That's a wrap on season 2, I guess,
Yeah.
of Podlygamist. Still figuring out merch, still figuring out audience engagement, but we're trucking along. So
Right.
thanks for sticking through it, I
We'll
guess.
get there.
Okay, well, follow us on Instagram at podlygamistpod. Gmail is the same, and that is about it. Thanks.